Welcome back. We're celebrating 20 years of memories. And I have my favorite person on the planet with me. And we're just talking about some memories. I hope it means as much for you to hear a young man and his mom go back and reminisce a journey that wasn't always easy, but worth it every step along the way. So we're just talking. Asking you some of your favorite memories of the journey. What was something that what was a pivotal moment for you, or just a memorable moment for you?
I think moving to the beach was a really big,
Huge.
It was a really big shift, visually and everything, every aspect.
Because we moved from where?
We moved from, what was that, from Granddad's house?
South Central.
That was from South Central LA, and so.
The hood.
Yeah, so it was visually a change. The community was a change. My activities were all changing.
So that was a big moment when you could see something happen.
I went from one spectrum to another really quickly.
Which was, you can't play outside over there by yourself.
Right.
Watch out when we hear a firecracker. Was that a firecracker or a gun?
Right.
People yelling down the street all times of the night to the beach.
Right, and the beach for me was I was taking the bus now, traveling the city, and I had surfing and.
We walked to the water.
And we walked to the water. My favorite thing to do was just skateboard. I started skateboarding and.
Wait, put it this way. You were able to play outside.
Right, yeah. So the little things I didn't realize, I was oh, I like skateboarding just around the city. That's really different here, where it's beautiful and sunny, and there's not cops stopping me just because I'm turning the corner too fast,
Right, wow.
It's a different, just different.
Wow. So you were, at that age, you were just going into middle school.
Yeah, we moved there right before my freshman year. Well, yep, right before freshman year.
Okay, so the summer of your 8th grade year. So that was about 13?
Yep.
About 13.
It was 2009.
So what was crazy about that time for me was because of your size, you grew fast. You were big when you were 5.
Right.
You were big when you were 7. You just always were stocky.
I was taller than you at freshman year.
You were taller than me.
Right.
You were taller than me, honey, at 10 or 11. I remember when you started looking me in the eye, and I called my daddy. I was like, Daddy, he's about to get taller than me. What happens? He was like, just let him know you still the mama. I was like, okay. So I'd always say, I'm your mama. You're like, Mama, no. So because of your size, everyone assumed that you should play basketball.
Right. Basketball or football?
Or football.
Right.
Everyone assumed. And while you played basketball at YMCA, it really wasn't basketball. Y'all wasn't even dribbling. Y'all was running down the court with the ball under your arm. You really went a different route. Everyone's trying to put you in this, and you were the founder of what?
Surfing club. I did baseball for a couple years, and then I did fencing, and then I did the surfing club.
So first of all, no, did you do surfing first?
Yeah, so there was no surfing club. I did surfing with Jordan.
So
then we did surfing club.
So I had to get a custom-made fencing outfit for you because they didn't have one with the shoulders the size of you. And then when you started surfing, oh my God, that was painful, Jelani.
Yeah, looking back on it, I probably wouldn't do it.
Let me tell you, surfing by itself wasn't painful. It was the fact that it was your first class in the morning, before your first class. So we had to get in.
Yeah, so we convinced the school to let us supplement our PE for surfing class. And we had to have a PE teacher watch us. And so he said he would watch us. And so it was before first period. And so it was about 6 in the morning was our surfing.
Yes.
So we would have to get to the beach at 5
6 in the morning, AKA old dark 30.
Yeah, it was very, very dark.
Which meant we had to arrive at 5:40.
And we started the fencing club in the winter time, which we wanted to postpone it for warmer weather, but we just got the okay to do it.
No, you mean the surfing club you started in the winter.
Yeah, what did I say?
Fencing.
Oh yeah.
Because you did fencing and surfing.
I didn't start fencing club. We started surfing club in the winter time. And because we didn't want to seem like we didn't have the dedication to do it, we kept it going through the wintertime.
#Burr. So because I didn't have a truck or because I didn't know how to
Right.
tie it on top of our car,
Solara.
we had a convertible Solara, and at 5:30 in the morning, we had the top down at dark 30.
It was a long board. I had a 10-foot surfing board.
Because you were so tall.
Yeah, I had a long board.
And we don't know nothing about.
No.
We didn't know nothing about how to transport a surfboard. So so you're in the back seat.
Yeah, holding the surfboard.
Behind the passenger seat.
Because it had to block the wind too.
So I'm trying to make sure you don't catch a cold. So you're behind the surfboard as a shield. The top is down. Mm-hmm. We're using the seatbelt on the surfboard, but you as well, because the surfboard kept lifting up.
Right, because the car's so low. It's a convertible, so the wind is trying to catch the surfboard, take it out the car.
I was committed to whatever you wanted to explore. We were going to explore it.
Yeah.
Well, I was an explorer, so I wanted to encourage you to do the same. And so literally, I would watch you surf, and I'd see this little dot, and I go, Lord, all I gotta do is lose my baby in the ocean at 5 o'clock in the morning. My family will choke me. Yeah. And
they wouldn't understand why they'd be like, why were you doing that?
Yeah, no one understood. No one understood why you wanted to be in fencing. No one understood why you wanted to surf. And I didn't.
Because no one offered those things to me before.
Right. And that's what I wanted the beach and the community life, beach life to bring to you is new opportunities. Yeah. And I just prayed you didn't just run back to all that you knew before. Yeah. Which was basketball.
I went back to it. I do basketball for working out, and I love the idea of football, and all that. But I really, really enjoy the other things that piqued my interest. Because I'm sure more people would fencing is just fun. Being able to sword fight people, and just do that and have rules for it, and that stuff's fun. And so when I just started chasing what was inherently fun, you know?
You followed your passion.
Right. And so I found a lot of things that I liked that weren't really offered to me. Baseball was never hey, you ever looked at baseball? You know? I had to find baseball for myself, and I really enjoyed it.
Now, what you don't know is that, I don't know if you remember me coming up to the baseball field and bringing coolers.
No, I remember that for sure. You were the favorite mom of everybody. You're the go-to.
So let me tell you what would happen. That's good to hear, because let me tell you what would happen. I would be on a plane, and I knew when your baseball game was, and I wanted to make it, because you wanted me there and I wanted to be there. So I would have been on a plane in New York or in Florida, and I would get off the plane. Your game would start at 3:30. Mm-hmm. I would get off the plane at 2:45, and I would have arranged with your grandmother or your granddad to meet me at the airport or at the baseball field with the cooler.
Aww.
And I would come skating in, running in, and they would be in the parking lot. Mm. And they would pull the cooler out their trunk, and they would give it to me, and I'd come to the game. And I'd be sitting at the game okay, still jet lagged, still not sure what time it is, but I wanted to show up because I know what it feels like to be an athlete and to want to see your family in the bleachers. So that's the story behind. That's what was happening in the background.
Right.
And sometimes me and your grandmother, she wouldn't have had time to cut the oranges.
Right, so we would be peeling oranges with our fingers.
Or we would be in the trunk of the car, Grandma would bring the knife, and we would be in the trunk of the car slicing the oranges and putting them in bags. And you guys would be pulling up around the other side in the van. In the bus. Mm-hmm. And I go, they're coming, Mom. Don't cut any more oranges. I gotta go. And then I'd be sitting in the bleachers waiting for you guys to come.
Oh, you're gonna make me cry.
I'm just, I guess this is a season in my life to talk about all the stuff behind.
Right. It is. It is very in the past.
Right. Well, and there's things that people just see the outcome and they don't know what it took to make that.
Yeah, I mean, I just found out what I was living in that, until just now.
Right.
My reality was, oranges and Gatorade.
Right. And it didn't matter how they got to you.
No.
That was the thing. You never needed to know. All you knew is mom showed up.
Yeah.
And that was the only story I wanted you to be able to tell is no. Even with my mom's travel, she showed up. But I think one of the key things that I would want my community to know is that I showed up because I asked for help. I didn't let needing help, and I needed help from your grandmother, I needed help from your granddad, I needed help from your uncle.
Right.
And even if you don't have immediate family, ask for a community. I got a lot of help from friends. I was more committed to what I wanted to create with you than wondering what people would think about if I asked for help. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why I'm grateful you say I was the go-to mom, because I didn't know that. But I'm grateful that I was considered to be a present mom. But it was because I was asking for help over here.
Soaking it in. Because now I'm like thinking back on like my baseball games and like thinking like, did I like see her like barely like scooting up to the game while I was getting there?
I tried not to.
Well, I'm glad you like whenever I look back on these things, I can always I always have like a half and half like look at things like you were there for like a good amount of you always like scheduled the big things to be you're there a lot, you're gone a lot of the times, but like when it matters, you're there. So it doesn't really matter to me.
Okay, so that brings me to the story I wanted to tell.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll try to tell this without crying. I don't know if you remember this, but you were 15. I'll never forget. You were 15. You had braces on still. You were wearing a red shirt this day. This man was interviewing me, and he asked you to be in the interview. And I signed the release, and the cameras were rolling like these cameras are rolling. And he asked you a dirty question. I call it a dirty question. And he asked it to you. And I'll never forget when he asked you that question, I stiffened, because if you just answered his question, it was going to be painful to me. He said, Jelani, because I had mentioned somewhere that I was on the road 266 days that year. Mm-hmm. And his question to you was, Jelani, your mom is on the road 266 days. I'll never forget how he asked you this. He said, how does that hurt you? And I remember just,
right.
I remember just like, because if you just answered the question.
Right, there's no.
Right.
Right.
There was no way out of it, mm-hmm. right? And I remember, this was one of my moments. This was one of my God divine moments with you. You looked at him, you looked right into the camera, and you said, sir, even though my mom is on the road 66% of the time, I don't know how you knew the percentage that fast. You said the 34% of the time that she's at home, because of who she is and the kind of mom she is, feels better than some of the parents who are at home 100% of the time. And then you put your arm around me and you pulled me in. And you said, I got you, Mom. And you recognized what he was doing, and you didn't let him diminish our relationship.
Well, it's me and you.
Huh?
The whole life has been, just the two of us.
And I remember in that moment, I could do nothing. I was so grateful because I could do nothing. It was literally, I knew that the consent form was signed.
Right.
I knew that his character was showing, and there was no way I could shake this.
Right.
And sorry, guys, I think I'm snorting. And you rose. And I had spent a lifetime protecting you. And that was the first indicator that you were going to protect me. I remember it like it were yesterday, Jelani. I remember where we were standing in the hotel in Los Angeles. I remember the shirt you were wearing. Because that day, my son spread his wings and wrapped around both of us. And then you physically put your arm around me and said, I got you, Mom. And he just sat silently. He stood silent because it didn't go the way he thought. And that man has asked me for an interview no less than 9 times since then, and I refuse. And if you happen to be watching this message now, I still will never interview with you, by the way. I forgive you because we all make poor decisions. But I want to encourage you to ask questions that empower. But I also want to inspire you through my son. So when we come back, I'm gonna talk about one of the hardest moments of my life. One of the hardest. And I didn't know I would talk about this, but I want to. And what you did. When we come back, more from my son, Jelani, Nichols, and myself. 20 years of memory.